I'm going to be the moderator for my next panel. And it talks about FinTech 2.0, which is powered by AI, right? Nothing other than AI. I'm going to welcome on stage Nishanth Pathi, who is the senior lecturer for digital transformation at BIBF, Bahrain Institute of Banking and Finance. Now, Nishanth has worked with all banks in the room, and I'm told that Nishanth knows quite a number of you. So, Nishanth, welcome. I think all the most difficult questions are going to come to you. Next up, we have Ahmed Albalooshi. My pleasure of inviting you once again to the panel. Ahmed is the CEO of Advantari, and he is also a board member and CEO of Moderator. Ahmed, if you could take this seat. Last but not the least, we have Ahmed Maskati. He is the head product development and product management at MBB. Ahmed, welcome. Thank you. I have my questions and I have my panelists, so I'm going to start shooting. I'm going to start with you, Ahmed.
Which one?
Ahmed Maskati. Okay. But I think both can answer the question. We're talking about AI, right? It's powered by AI. Customer expectations are changing. Product life cycles are changing. As a head of product management, how do you see AI is changing your function? How is it helping you and making your life maybe easier and difficult at the same time?
So first of all, thank you for having us today. It's a lot of joy and fun to hear your initial note. Initially, when we talk about product development or any sort of feasibility or assessment in terms of what do you want to roll out as a service or a product into the mainstream, obviously you need to look into the sphere around you. What's the competitive landscape? Who's doing what? What's the best pricing strategy? What's the best penetration strategy? Where are you on your product life cycle? What should be the process flow or the customer journey that is trailing with this sort of product to make it a success? And all of that is done, in essence, comparatively, using the public domains, comparatively using or seeing who's around you in that market or in that space. You go obviously through the appropriate approval procedures, but more so or more recently, the usage of the likes of, as you rightly said, ChatGPT and Copilot and whatnot, has been a good additional layer of benchmarking on the product development field to assess the feasibility and the rightfulness of any sort of any sort of product, service, amendment of a procedure. Is it the best practice? How do you benchmark this globally? So AI is, to be exact, is deeply rooted in the life cycle, if you ask me. Something that has not been done before. And a good story that I was mentioning to you the other day, I come from the management consulting background, and I recall the days where we conduct our due diligence reports, valuation reports, feasibility studies. And a few years ago, I came across a FinTech who develops, this was maybe about 5 years ago, who develops a financial model prompt-based. So I was thinking in the back of my head that this is actually a real skill set that used to be built into management consultants, having the ability to forecast and financial model in Excel. And today this is an app, essentially. Yeah.
And that's 5 years ago.
5 years ago, exactly.
5 years
So
ago.
to my surprise, it was 5 years ago.
So, I'm assuming that, this could have, become even more easier at a click of a button, of a click of an app, if I can say it. Ahmed, I'm going to come to you, Ahmed Albalooshi. I'm going to keep it open-ended, and I'm going to ask you, just talk us through what are the most important, the innovations that you see in the Bahrain market, and what are some of the innovations that you see outside Bahrain that you think that you would want Bahraini banks to implement today?
For innovations, I think if we segregate banks, as in the traditional banking, could be different from FinTech. So we're talking innovation in FinTechs. And FinTechs, so I'm talking about those separately licenses, the organization that works on a business model and a specific product. So if we look at the angle of banking, innovation in it is quite slower when it comes to using AI or any innovative models. I come from banking, worked in 2 banks, I will not name them. And now I'm on the FinTech side with a startup that just graduated from a regulatory sandbox. And I can see a difference on the way innovation is tackled and the pace of innovation and how we learn from innovation. So banking, it's a bit challenged because it's a established traditional organization that are by nature risk averse, okay? But FinTech are by nature innovative because they are using new business model. They have to disrupt the normal way of doing, and therefore their existence depends a lot on innovation. Therefore, the way in Bahrain, we see this not only in Bahrain, but all GCC and worldwide. And I think for Bahrain, if we talk about innovation, and I think we see retail banks are ahead a bit ahead when it comes to SMEs and wealth management. But we see a lot of innovations being bold in fintechs themselves that are a bit separate from banking. So a good example is, I saw you're putting logo as Flus. Flus is a digital lending platform using the power of open banking to offer instant approvals on financing. No banks here now can provide instant financing that is also include the process of digital onboarding, instant approval using open banking. So this is how innovation is different. So I see Bahrain capitalizing on fintech innovations. Banks can leverage fintechs for further innovation. And Bahrain being the center of Islamic banking, I would see a lot of innovation in wealth management, robo-advisory, that will also, we see a glimpse of it in Saudi Arabia as well.
In fact, in one of our discussions, when we were developing the presentation jointly with Chetan, we spoke about, not having a lot of Islamic banking fintechs, not a lot of fintechs which are focused on Islamic banking. Do you see that being true, and do you see that changing?
I see this changing, and if we're talking about, I always segregate between banks and fintechs. Banks can leverage new innovative technologies for this, but when I talk about fintech, those startups, businesses that have different business model that is licensed separately by central banks. So worldwide, you see a lot of them, like Wahed could be considered one of the pioneer Islamic fintechs, and robo-advisory. UK have Yielders, which is fractionalized ownership in real estate, okay? And and in Saudi, although they came a bit late, but they leapfrogged everyone in the GCC. They are implementing AI for robo-advisory, for personal finance, and it's already happening. The challenge is, when we talk about AI, what are the regulators are going to do? And it's becoming challenges because of PDPL as well. But the biggest challenges, I would say, is internal to the organization and adapting innovation first and then adapting AI for innovation.
Interesting, the examples you took for Islamic fintechs were outside Bahrain. So, I think that's a wide space for anyone listening here. That's a wide space that's come up on this panel. Nishanth, I'm going to come to you. It's a straight question. What are the, I know I spoke about use cases being important, but more important about culture. But I'm going to ask you a straight question. What are the most important use cases that you are seeing that banks are working on right now? And what could customers maybe see 6 months, 1 year from now in actual implemented products?
So before I get into fancy technologies, let's ask, are we solving the fundamental problem? So let me just give you a very quick journey of how ML works. AI is introduced into an organization. Any organization who want to introduce AI from ground up, first they have to have a good data analyst team. That leads to a good data scientist team. Good data scientist team can build better deep learning, machine learning, and artificial intelligence products. So that's the journey. You start with data analytics, go to the data science, then go to deep learning, then machine learning, and then you will achieve AI. Companies tell that, hey, I can predict what my customer can purchase. Okay? But that is achieved at an AI level, machine learning level. But to the same customer, you are not giving spending patterns per month in the same app, which is data analytics. That means you can solve a problem without advanced technology to the customer, but we are looking at technology, right? How many of you would like to see spending patterns in your credit card app? Previously, I'm not financially literate. Now I'm a financially literate. When I was in college, my father used to give me money. I just, spend the money. I don't even care. Now I'm earning the money. I want to be financially literate, and I want to see where are my spendings. Am I spending on food? Am I spending on luxury? Am I spending on some clothing? Am I spending on some electronics? That basic fundamental activity I want to know. Tell me which app gives me across the world my spending patterns of a credit card or debit, and we have technology. And this doesn't need AI, just needs data analytics. And companies who are claiming that we have implemented AI, that means they have reached a long way without solving a small problem that you can give it to your customers. This is 2 days before. I had a credit card with a good limit. I want to take a bank loan. Then they said, sir, why don't you decrease your credit card limit so that the loan amount can increase, the amount of payments that you can do will increase. So I called up the relationship manager and said, I want to decrease the credit card limit. He said, sir, can you come to the branch, sign on a paper? And this bank is celebrating 100 years in Bahrain. You will guess it. This bank is celebrating 100 years in Bahrain. And there is another. In the same game, I'll tell you. While I was in the airport, I want launch access. I paid 50 BD, and I got the launch access via the credit card. In 15 minutes, I got my credit card activated, and then access the launch. And you can also guess who are there. So I have seen that extreme at airport. In 15 minutes, I got launch access. And I got seen the extreme of, sir, can you come to the branch to decrease the credit limit?
Nishanth, why don't you apply to MBB?
Definitely. So
I was just going to say views expressed by the speakers are their own.
Yeah, it's up to me. It's up to me.
I'm just kidding.
Ultimately, it's like this, right? I always believe in, if a common problem is solved, that's a great technology. If day-to-day common problems of you and me is solved, it's a great technology. For me, Uber is a great technology, great company. For me, Talabat is a great company. Okay? like that, anything that can solve regular problems in my daily life can be a great company. I was discussing with Syed here. This is out of the context. Let me tell you. We were in washroom. Again, the washrooms are great. Everything is great. But I cannot put my coat anywhere in the bathroom. When I want to wash my hands, I cannot put my coat anywhere. So that means I have to wash my hands with the same coat as is. That means we are building a fancy building. Again, no offense to the building and all, but I'm telling you the problems, that common problems that a customer needs, we are not solving. But we are solving bigger problems. Again, I'm not against AI. I'm with AI. We have to solve problems with AI. There are some problems which you can only solve with AI, and there are so many problems that AI, you don't need it. So you don't need to spend millions of dollars on a fancy technology to solve a common problem that a customer needs. And just, again, nothing against a company. The company name that Nikhil was talking about, I have the same insurance in India. I took for my parents. That company has AI-based voice assistant, but I cannot call them from international numbers. I cannot call them from my international numbers.
I should have run the case study by you before I presented.
No, that's okay. So, for my parents, I have to call my parent and say, Dad, can you call this number and tell them that, payment is going to get late, or, do I need to do KYC again? And they solved an AI problem. But me, see, if they have done so much of analytics on my profile, I'm an NRI. So I stay out of the country, and all my transactions that I pay in BD to them online. They could have identified that this guy, there are so many customers who are NRIs, and they may not have numbers. They may have to just give a internet-based call. See, Uber solved it, right? If you book an Uber, you can call the driver in two types. One, via the voice call over the internet, regular call. I think that's a fundamental problem that Uber solved it. But this, again, I don't want to name it, this insurance company who solved a bigger problem forgot solving the fundamental problem. So I always want that to happen, right? You solve the fundamental problem for the customer, I think customer will be very happy. You don't need to bring technologies. Until and unless you want to do the marketing strategy of, hey, we are the pioneers in AI, we want to do that. Again, that's a different game at all.
It's very important thing to note here that this is an AI panel and you're talking that AI is not important. I get it. But I think I understand what you're saying. Okay, don't focus on AI. Focus on customer problems and then AI as a solution. Rather than thinking of, I want to implement AI. So you rather put your customer at the center. Yeah. I think something that was brought up in the first panel, right? Putting customer at the center. So, I think it's a very important step back, Nishanth. You made a great point that you don't need to have fancy things which can be solved by simpler things. Focus on customer problems, right?
Right.
Super. Ahmed, I'm going to come to you.
Yes.
Ahmed Al-Maskati. Now I'm going to take it forward, right? So, you want to. You believe that there's a customer problem that you identified that can be solved by AI. How do you actually go ahead and implement it within your organization? And if you could touch upon, how do you also make it a cultural thing? Is there something that any lessons that you can share with the audience here? Would you need to turn it on?
I will base my answer based on Nishanth's last comment or notary. The adaptability of AI into our flows is not for the purpose of AI itself. It is for the purpose of elevating your product offering or elevating your customer journey. As simply said by Nishanth, solving customer problems is the primary objective here. The primary objective is not to rubber stamp this and say that this has been proved by AI and we're good to go. So it is not
We need AI on this one, please.
So it is not something that that is embedded as part of the process flow or the journey, just for the purpose of saying that. It is to change and elevate that that experience. So to answer your question, it is a philosophy. It is a mindset thing. So always think, you know, how to do this better. Think in the mindset, and my colleagues from Group MBB are here. We always say the word digital first. So yes, customer problem comes on the first degree. On the second degree, how can this be better using a digital flow? How can this be done better with less clicks? These are metrics that we look into, that we assess and measure periodically. So that's my answer to you on that.
So, you know, it's again going back to solving customer problem, which is,
Yep.
I think, you know, I think this whole theme is going to be changed a little bit from saying AI to customer first. And I think that's a great message coming from this panel, because let's not just go ahead and, you know, try and, you know, implement a technology for the sake of implementing technology, for the sake of rubber stamping, as you said, but solve a problem, right? So thank you for that, and, you know, thank you for taking the thought forward there. Ahmed Albalooshi, you know, where do you see in terms of opportunities? You know, again, we already identified Islamic finance as an opportunity, maybe. Where do you see any other opportunities? You know, if I were to pick out, you know, certain sectors or subsectors or, you know, segments of customers, where would you say are the most important opportunities?
I wouldn't look at it from a specific segment. I would look at it from innovation, and where AI also can help is personalization. So if you are I, for example, have deal with 2 banks in my personal banking needs, which are the 2 banks that I worked with. And if you look at the app, it's the same thing. It's the same functionality across all the banks in Bahrain. I don't use MBB, Ahmed, sorry. Okay. And my wife uses the same banks, and there's no difference between Ahmed using the app and my wife using the app. And therefore, for us to be innovative and really have a competitive advantage over our competitors, whether a bank or a FinTech, personalization is a huge importance, because with personalization, you can really differentiate your offering to your customer based on his needs.
So can I say personalization at scale? Is that the right thing to do? Because you can probably personalize manually in that sense for customers who can afford that or have that value. Yeah. So will AI help you personalize at scale? Is that what you think?
It definitely will help you at scale, but when we say personalization, as Nishanth said, personalization is not necessarily an AI problem. It could be a pure, can be solved data analytics, exactly. But when you want to scale it, maybe AI will accelerate the personalization.
100%, yes. Yeah. So
How
just to complement
Ahmed's
point here, it's personalization and, well, it's not just segmentation, it's micro-segmentation. So looking at customers well, this has a profile X versus this has a profile Y, plus profile Y has recently transacted in a shopping mall versus profile X who transacted recently through e-commerce. So the experience or the requirements of personality X will vary from personality Y, and therefore you need to prompt him with the appropriate tools, or this is where you get AI into the picture here, to generate the right cross-sell mechanisms. I'm speaking as a bank here. What are the cross-sell mechanisms to take him to the next step, you know?
So in your previous management consulting avatar, you would have said segment of one, right? You know, so each customer being a segment in itself.
Exactly, there is no one size fits all.
I'm going to stay with you, okay? And this is my favorite questions. If you had $100 million to invest in a transformative AI application for banks across the globe, what would that be?
There is no answer to this question.
So why are you going to use that for something else?
It's a very difficult question to gauge. $100 million is a big amount. I will hand it over to my colleague Ahmed, because I'm sure there are more things that he can provide in terms of an answer better than me, if you want me to be honest.
Well, I'll try to get it as a bonus first. And if I can't, I will invest it. First of all, I will go to Nishanth, BIBF. I want to educate my board of directors. I want to educate my C-level management on not only innovation, AI, but the importance of technology. But after that level of awareness, I would invest it in capabilities, organizational capabilities, to leverage innovation, data analytics, and AI, and build these capabilities within the organization. This is plan B if I cannot get it as a bonus.
I'm going to give it to you, Nishanth.
You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Perfect. You can hear me, right? Yes. Oh, perfect. So first thing, I would spend some amount of that money in my business process reengineering. I will try to see in my entire process flow, any customer's journey, whichever product it is, throughout the customer's journey, what are the problem statements? What are the challenges that I am going to get if I have to integrate latest technologies? For example, can I run a machine learning model on core banking? This banking system is there for 40 years. I cannot run a machine learning model directly on core banking. If I was listening to one of the panelists, we are switching from MT to MX. MX will not work because if you have to do real-time fraud transaction on the fly in the memory, XML needs a lot of computing power. You need to convert the XML object into JSON object. Sorry to be a little technical. If you convert that into JSON object, on the fly detection, applying machine learning model is faster. It's not the bank who has to change. It is the Swift system has to change. And then push that, oh, you're in MX, now implement JSON formatting. Because that fly will happen automatically. If you want to do real-time fraud transaction, while the transaction gets hit, XML needs a lot of compute power. So you have to double your infrastructure cost if you have to run the same ML on a MX message, rather on a JSON string. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. So I would take the business process, identify the challenges, and see, okay, tomorrow if I have to bring AI, again, now I'm talking towards AI. Tomorrow if I have to bring AI, will it fit in my process, or will it fit with my existing technology? I'll spend most of my time there. That's when it will give me all the loopholes. And then I'll go to BIBF and ask them to educate. Again, just promoting.
Understood.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and enrich people in those pain problems. Like wherever the pain points are there, I'll try to enrich my capabilities over there, either in terms of people, process, technology, outsourcing, whatever is required.
Perfect.
And then one other app. Again,
Yeah, some money is left, yeah.
This is little against what you are speaking. As you said, chatbots are not the way. For me, chatbots are the way. Because what changed the people's perspective against AI is chatbot. So chatbots are going to stay. And one more opinion I'll tell. We are talking about voice assistants. Today's generative AI is so good that it can mimic my voice and sing songs. Today's generative AI is so good. That means if as a bank, if I call to a bank and do an IVR based authentication using my voice, if my voice is recorded in any go, while I'm in the bus talking to my friend, my voice is recorded, that can be used for fraud purpose. Because today, voice can be mimicked exactly at the same tone that I speak, with the same emotions that I emit, with the same feelings that I do. We have technology.
It
So for
can,
me,
sorry,
I'll go back to the chat.
it can also pick up
Personality.
dialects.
Absolutely.
And this is available in the region. We have
Yeah, this is a
come
problem,
across
right?
a couple of suppliers who do that.
Right. So for me, still chatbot works. And from my perspective, maybe on an old school style, or I work on technology on a daily basis, hands-on. So I feel that is a good problem solver than a voice-based. That's my personal
I
opinion.
always
Nothing
believe,
against
you know,
anyone.
I always believe. So when I said chatbots have been a failure, I'm looking at it as an opportunity rather than saying that it's not work. Because I know the technology is there. It's just the way it is implemented.
Way
I think
it is
it's,
approach
you know,
you are
it's
given
been
to your
fantastic. You know, if I can share behind the scenes when I posed the $100 million question to my panelists, and the first answer that Ahmed Maskati gave was, I will buy an island.
But see, in all honesty here,
And
when
Ahmed
you're
Albalooshi said that I will buy an island next to his. And then he said I'll buy an island in between them. Right? But, you know, in all fairness, I think I think what's come out beautifully from this panel is use this time, because AI is still slightly in a state where it is evolving, and use this time to get your base ready, figure out what is required in terms of, you know, customer experience, in terms of training, in terms of getting all your organization ready for, you know, having that huge hockey stick improvement that you can get from AI. With that, I think we are completely out of time for the session, and I would really want to thank my speakers on the panel today for sharing their thoughts and helping us get back to the reality of AI. Thank you so much.